presentations, great job. So yeah, after we come back from Thanksgiving break, we only got 2 weeks left. Class, so it's gone by pretty quickly. All right, what did we talk about last class? Public relations, sponsorship, event marketing. Why are they important? How are they all related to some degree, right? We said sometimes people think that PR is something different than marketing. It should be like a separate sort of department or entity because they feel it's not really integrated. Others different. They're like, no, absolutely. PR is marketing because it's about imaging and upholding reputation, right? Expanding the brand, reacting to negative media or press, right? Keeping track of comments to see if the perspective against our company is positive, right? So it definitely has its place, right? We say, hey, kind of like ourselves, who's our PR for? Us, right? Maybe our friends, maybe our family kind of speak up positive against us. Maybe sometimes we have controversial things going on in our lives and we have to kind of do damage control, right? Or even here at the university for that matter. Okay, so we kind of talked about the functions of PR, assess corporate reputation, corporate social responsibility, build positive image, reduce image damage, et cetera, right? We say, hey, stakeholders could be internal, external. Stakeholders are, do our employees view us in a positive light? Is there bad press going around within the organization? How do we stop that? Somebody lied, somebody put up false information on us, right? Have corporate espionage. Our competitors send somebody over to spy on us. And now they're kind of promoting all of this internal rift that we've been trying to keep quiet, right? So like, hey, internal matters just as much. HR department usually deals with a lot of that. Even things like grievances, right? All sorts of harassment, workers' compensation, safety matters within the company. And then we typically have external stakeholders. Anybody who has a vested interest, such as unions, government, special interest groups. Corporate social responsibility. Remember we said we don't have to be ethical. We can be unethical if we want to. Right? It may cost money to be ethical. So you have to kind of weigh the scales. If you're exposed for being unethical, what is the cost for that? Will customers leave you? Will your shareholders or your stakeholders kind of come against you? So it's important to have some sort of ethics, right? Some sort of corporate social responsibility, meaning that, hey, you owe a responsibility to society in a way. Some way, shape, or form, you owe responsibility, whether it's to be environmentally friendly, with green sort of aspects of the company. You say, hey, package here, make the packaging maybe green, right? Put the labels on there to express that so people can see it. Transparency, right? You don't want to be deceived in any way. Fighting injustice, somewhat tricky. Now you get into the realm of politics, people are easily triggered. We live in a very divisive country, right? Drive positive social change, promoting that. Right? And pro-social marketing, right? Having a purpose outside of just making money. What is the purpose? Should maybe something within the mission statement of the company. Like our purpose is to change the world and make it a better place, right? With education or something like this. Right? Should have some sort of centralized focus. Right? This is related to cause marketing. So you're like, hey, cause related marketing, green marketing and environmental activities. Right, so we can put up here a big poster showing something that we're doing with the habitat and make sure that we are showing our brand and our logo and what it is we're into. Things that can kind of pull on the heartstrings of our stakeholders. Right? Something that draws positive attention. We say we have press releases or press conferences, right? Extremely important. You say, hey, we probably need a good network of people within media, all sorts of media, whether it be radio, television, even individuals on social media. Specific individuals who have a large presence, have a large sort of efficacy with the public, right? So we want to have those things so we can put the press releases. Maybe we can have someone come for an interview, one of our executives, or someone who's working on maybe a positive thing that we're doing. Right? Other ways we can do it. We could partnership with charities, we could create our own charity. Right? Many successful charities usually create their own charity because they like the aspect of control. Right? Because once again, if you're working with a third party, whatever they're doing, you might be associated with that as well too. So risky, but if you don't have that sort of resources, you can partner with a charity, and maybe if it's a very large charity like St. Jude, that might work better because there's obviously more exposure there. Right? All right, so what we know, customers are likely to purchase a brand associated with a cause that they care about, willing to pay more for a brand associated with a cause that they care about. Could you think of anything you buy that you're like, hey, I also buy this because I like some of the causes that they're attached to? What was it? Tom's Shoes. Buy a pair of shoes and they donate to one pair of shoes, something like that. Could you think of any kind of brand or product you buy, like outside of the cost, outside of the style, outside of the need or the utility for the product? I also buy it because this company saves the whales and the snails. Yes?
Bombas socks, they would donate a pair for every, like, if you buy a pair, they donate one to, I don't know, actually, but they donate the pair to somebody.
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah, you're like, all right, Mamba sucks. You're like, hey, buy one. At the same time, like, hey, like, I made a purchase, but I also help somebody get a new pair of socks. Next thing, win-win, right? Could you think of anything else? Mamba socks. Right, cause related. All right, be like, hey, you know what? People do care. Right? Altruism. People have a big knack for feeling that the sense of feeling that they're helping other people, that they're actually good, doing something good. Inevitably, meaning that each customer usually is purpose driven. Right? Even at your job, if you don't feel that your job has a real meaning and purpose, usually you're very unsatisfied, probably poor performance, and you'll quit relatively easily. Right? But if you feel that your job has a real purpose, you change lives. Yes, people love to have something also. So that they have some sort of effect out in the world outside of their wallet, outside of just buying something. Benefits to nonprofit organizations. That helps them provide funds in competitive environments. Not-for-profits usually get money from outside sources, grants, right? Donations, and working with other corporations, right? For-profit corporations. Positive publicity from this company must balance the amount of publicity, right? Too much publicity, too much exposure is not necessarily good because people get fatigued. They get tired of seeing you so much. Right? They want to see you just enough, but not too much. Green marketing, pro-environmental activities. This kind of became a huge thing in the late 90s where everybody started to go green, right? Everybody started to promote green. This concept of our major function of business is to change the world, be environmentally aware, right? Sustainability, things like that. Right? Some people think it was at the beginning kind of gimmicky, Others may feel like, hey, it may actually take away from the awesome products and services that we provide, because now people are more focused on what we do. And sort of, the call center area than it was some of the actual products and services, right? So a consumer survey revealed that 58% try to save electricity. People love to save electricity, right? It goes environmentally friendly to not be able to waste these sorts of utilities. 46% of people recycle newspaper. Who here recycles? Actively, consciously recycle. Who here has a problem when they see other people don't recycle garbage? Right? Who here, like when you go to Starbucks and there's 3 bins, you just kind of throw it anywhere? Or you actively like, put it in the right. Is this one plastic? Where is it? Where is the plastic? Where's the card? Right? Active things, think about it. There's something that even Starbucks have gotten into. Right? It didn't happen before. Starbucks just had one trash bin in the early days, I remember. Right? Later, like, oh, make sure you recycle right way. Even things like McDonald's. If you pay attention, even at McDonald's, you may think, hey, McDonald's, fast food, whatever. McDonald's has the best napkins. Probably them in Chicago. Wouldn't even pay attention to them. Right? They're recyclable, they're durable, they're awesome. McDonald's has some of the best bags, right? To carry the food in, but you probably wouldn't pay attention to. But if you kind of compare to the other competitors in that industry, Taco Bell, whatever, like, man, these are cheap. Right? McDonald's has made it a purpose to have quality bags, napkins that could be recycled, reused, environmentally friendly, so they have an edge on even that part of the business. That's why McDonald's is superior in many, many regards. They put a lot of money kind of in every single aspect of their business. 45% of people return bottles or cans. I'm not sure about that. Right? How many of you have returned some cans or bottles? It's been a long time. 23% buy products from recycled materials. Right? Purposefully or not, I'm not sure. Some consumers will buy green only when all things equal. We say, hey, we buy green if we can't afford green. Sometimes green is a little pricey. Right? Not a little pricey to be so ethical and so conscious and aware of this aspect. So there's a question, hey, should firms engage in green marketing, right? Some questions we can ask, hey, what percentage of customers fit into green segments? Can brand or company differentiate to create competitive advantage? Does going green make you different? Does going green make you have a competitive advantage, right? Will current target market be alienated by a green market approach, right? Let's see what we got here. Amazon shown here is one of several companies with an increasing emphasis on sustainability in its climate pledge program, right? Amazon has evolved into this. You notice that their vans are electric. Right? Their vans that you should deliver your Amazon packages are electric vehicles, which may be viewed as a green activity. Damage control, right? Hey, do we say proactive or reactive? Like, I don't do nothing until something bad happens. Why put money to something that has yet to occur? Why do that? Well, you're like, no. Maybe times are sensitive. We need to get ahead of certain aspects, in which case we might be mentioned about something, right? Right? We want to just kind of be aware of that, right? Get ahead of it. Right? You've been hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein for the last few years. You might want to get ahead of it, be proactive instead of waiting to be. Right? Like sometimes you have to develop a strategy. Be proactive or reactive. Things can happen. Negative publicity is anything. I think there was something with a coach here. What was the coach that got into some controversy here? years ago, basketball, right? Get the story, right? But anything, if it's something that could be seen negative, I'm like, well, basketball program is huge here. I don't know if this will dissuade families from sending their athletic children to play basketball here. It could be something that could get in the way. So obviously, you may have to do a press release, a newsletter of some sort, send an email out to the community, which we probably get in our emails, right? Big notice like, hey, you may have heard that such and such, such and such, right? We are actively looking into that, investigating, and we will keep you posted. Get ahead of it. Bad news travels fast. Allegations stick, don't matter. Hey, you're found not guilty. Nobody cares. All they remember is that you were alleged, right? They don't care if you were found guilty. We don't think that way. What we know is the first bad news. We like to gossip. And we typically like have invested interest in negative bad news for the most part. There could be two situations, right? One company has made an error, which could be an honest error, right? Justified or exaggerated negative press, right? Taking snippets of what someone said, using AI for all sorts of nefarious purposes against the company. So we got proactive to prevent things, or reactive or damage control. Right? We have things like entitlements. Entitlements kind of deal with keep pushing the positive things that are out there about us. Right? Republish that story. Republish that marketing about that positive thing that people like about us. Right? Hold on to it. And then we got things like enhancements, which we'll talk about. And then we got reactive strategy, right? To do things on the internet, to intervene, comments, crisis management programs, put out an apology, right, to the CEO, and an apology statement, and different impression management techniques. Right? So like, hey, entitlements, we claim responsibility for policy outcomes, right? Yes, it was us that did that wonderful thing. Enhancements attempt to increase impact of the desired outcomes. So it helps to kind of, work on the impact of the desired outcomes for the public to kind of view. All right, here's one, Pepsi. Pepsi had a story, this is like, I don't know, 80s or something. And I think some couple in like Tacoma, Washington claimed that they found a hypodermic needle in their can of Pepsi. Happened before too with say candy, right? Like, oh, we found some poison in the candy. So when Halloween comes around, people are like, don't send your kids to this house. Right? Billions of dollars lost from a lie, right? And if the lie spread fast enough, everybody believes it. And then later on they find out it's not real, but it's too late. Billions of dollars have already been lost. So, crisis management, important. Right, so Pepsi kind of say, hey, quickly, we're gonna do an investigation. We've been hearing these sort of stories out here. We have a team on it. We're gonna go through our production facilities and see if any of this is decided to be true, right? And we found not to be true. And also, I think a big one usually is with automobile manufacturers, where you're getting recalls. Hey, the brakes go bad on this vehicle, and it may have caused 2 or 3 deaths. We like maybe 2 or 3 deaths out of 150,000 of those vehicles out on the road. Still a significant impact on how people feel it. They don't know if the brakes may go out on their vehicle, so you have to get ahead of it, right? Sometimes you can deny a problem exists and maybe try to correct it, which case you probably get in trouble later, case it's sort of fine, right? But here we say, hey, Toyota had quality control issues, they denied it, they launched a full-scale PR campaign and social media PR, that kind of thing. And then lastly, right, which we probably all can attest to when we need to apologize for something we did wrong. Reactive form of crisis management works when we're at fault, or the company there, it's been exposed, it's been deemed to be true, so you can't deny it. Right, effective for creating emotional bond and default immediately, right? Don't take too much time, make quick responses so that you seem to be authentic, and people can believe you, right? Don't do like Diddy and get out there and wait for a couple months to cry on camera about it, right? All right. We're done for today. No class on Tuesday. So I will see you the week after. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving week.